mean, what all topics are covered in the previous sessions?
Sorry, come again.
What all topics has been covered in previous sessions?
So we have covered journal, then ledger, then trial balance, then a part of the final accounts. When I say final accounts, I mean the preparation of trading account, profit and loss account, and balance sheet.
Yep.
So that's where we are, and we are way behind, sir. Sir has already covered the ratio analysis today, and
yeah, I think after balance sheet, it's in today's topic, right? Ratios.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So you guys have covered even like all the topics earlier. Like I know I am clearly understand the general part, but I'm still having doubts with the ledgers and trial balance.
Okay, sure, no problem. You can always go through the videos. Here what we will do is we will go through the basics of journal, and then if we have time, ledger. That's what I'm planning to do. Other than that, if you guys have any doubt, we can discuss those as well. So very quickly, yeah.
So sorry, Dheeraj, I'll just keep going on and off. I hope that won't disturb anybody. Is that fine?
Yeah, you don't have to. Not a problem.
Okay, cool.
Not a problem. Yeah.
Thanks, bro.
Yeah. So moving ahead with it, very simply, as we already know the basics of journal, what is journal, what happens in journal. If I say that there is a transaction and for each transaction there is an entry that we will have to pass, I think all can relate to that. As I have mentioned time and again, and sir has also mentioned in the classes, that we have a standard language of those transactions given in a question. Few things we will have to probably remember by heart. Few things, time and again, when we practice similar transactions, post the entries, we will get familiar with that language. So what exactly I mean by language is something like this. So if I say sold goods for cash, if I say sold goods to Mr. Ram, then if I say sold goods to Mr. Ram for cash, can you guys make any difference between these three languages? If I say the first one, which is very clearly sold goods for cash, that means we have received cash and sold some goods. Very clearly, we can see that in the sentence itself. Then it says sold goods to Mr. Ram. It is not specifying whether Mr. Ram has actually paid or not, right? So it is not the sufficient information is not given in that statement that we can actually understand. So in these cases, the standard language says if nothing is mentioned, it should be a credit transaction, meaning thereby Mr. Ram owes us money and goods we have sold. So cash we have not received. That's the basic purpose of me discussing all these three. The middle one, when the statement says sold goods to Mr. Ram, so cash is not mentioned. This is a credit transaction, meaning thereby Mr. Ram has not paid us. Mr. Ram has not paid us. Had he had paid, cash would have come here instead of Mr. Ram. Instead, I'm writing Mr. Ram here. So don't focus on why I'm coming to that part. I think many of you are already familiar why I'm writing those two, but again, I'm just focusing on the language. Don't focus on why those two are being mentioned on the right-hand side. Sold goods to Mr. Ram for cash. So here it's very clearly written that to Mr. Ram, we have sold some goods and we have definitely received some cash for it because the for cash is mentioned. So it's exactly similar to the first transaction. So this transaction and this transaction, there is no difference. However, you can see some difference in the language. So, similar to this, we will have a lot of other scenarios in which we have standard language. From that standard language, we will assume certain things or will not assume certain things, as the case may be. By the time when we go through questions and come through new scenarios, then and there I'll tell you what those standard language mean. I don't have a list with me which I can give you, right? This is the list. If you go through all of them, then that's what the meaning is. And actually doing that will be a bigger task for you because you will have to then by heart all of those. Instead, what we'll do throughout the practice, we'll go through all those examples and deal with it as and then. Now that I have discussed that, let's go to a simple rule of journal entry. which is every transaction will have two aspects. I think every one of us know that. So determining the two aspects, that is one of the critical parts, because sometimes what happens is we will get doubt between three aspects. So there will be three aspects in a particular transaction, and we will get doubt which should we select. So my solution to that is find out the most important two. When I say most important, from whose perspective? From the business perspective. So think from the company point of view, what are those two important things? I have given this example before. I'll give this example now before we go to the transactions, so that you will get some context about it. Suppose I go to I go to a bookstore. I purchase a pen. I go to a bookstore. I purchased a pen. I paid cash. I came back home. In this whole activity, what is important to me? So there are three things. I'll tell those three things. You guys tell what are the two important ones. One is cash, which I have paid. One is pen that I have got. Then the bookstore to whom I have paid. So three aspects will be: one is pen, one is cash, one is the bookstore. Now my question to you is, which two are the most important ones?
Cash and pen.
Awesome. Others, can you relate to this? If you are having doubt, then I can explain it. No problem. Okay. Sorry?
I think all are clear, I guess.
Awesome. So I'll just quickly tell why, then I'll move on. The reason bookstore is not important, because very simply we have already paid. We don't have to remember who do we owe, or who from whom we paid. Literally, it happens to us. The moment we come back and we forget even, or either today or tomorrow, we won't even remember from what place we purchased that, and because we have already paid. Had the situation been little different, had we gone to the bookstore and purchased a pen, and we forgot to bring cash with us. We suppose we don't have any payment app as well, and we told the person in the bookstore, I'll come back and I'll pay. Then, if you think about it, you will have to remember which bookstore you went to. That's when bookstore name is now important. In that situation, those two important things will be pen and the bookstore. So I'll apply this concept, I'll apply this logic in some transactions, so that I wanted to mention that. Let's directly move on to one of the transactions. So first transaction reads, Raj comments business with 5,000 rupees. I think this is exactly the same example that we in the class with Sir started practicing journal entries. If you guys remember, I picked exactly the same one. Let's see how we go. Raj comments business with rupees 5,000. What are the two aspects? Anyone? Or three aspects? As many aspects as you can find.
Raj commences business with 5,000. 5,000 is a cash. And
Raj account, cash and Raj account.
Raj.
Capital account.
This is
Business capital.
business. Yeah.
So
Capital
business. Okay. Anything else, guys? Okay. So we have 4 accounts. That's absolutely fine. Always, I mean, there is no problem with it. We have that procedure, that setup. We should have that, in mind, that whatever aspects we are finding, then we will cancel the non-important ones. Let's see what are the important ones first. So business has definitely received cash. So this is definitely important one, for sure. Now the competition is between these 3: Raj, capital, and business. So first of all, just like I always repeat, there will be never an account called debit account or credit account. Similarly, there will be never an account called business account. Reason being, suppose I am, company A. In my books, I will not have a company A account. I won't have an account with my own name. That's kind of a general rule which you can understand a little bit more even if you think about it. Suppose you, a simple shopkeeper, grocery shopkeeper, keeps a list of the people who owe him money. I mean, you must have seen when somebody owes him money, he has a small list. He adds the name, and on the side to the name, he writes how much of amount he will receive from that person. So can you imagine that him writing his own name in that list? Can you ever imagine? That will never happen. So in the same logic, in a company, its own account will never be there. It's as simple as that. So we won't have the business account at all. It's a very logical thing to really understand. I'm deleting that first. Now let's come to Raj account and capital account. Both are actually same. Both are actually same. Let's club them together. Both logic are same. Let's club them together to say Raj's capital account. Raj's capital account. Let's say that. Now that we are clear about the aspects, the next set of procedure that we will do to record the journal entry is to determine what type of account those are. When I say what type of account, let me introduce the concept of type of account. So there are three types of account. One is personal account, one is real account, one is nominal account. So we have personal, we have real, we have nominal. You must have heard by now a lot of times these names. So I'm not focusing a lot more on that. Let me go directly to the steps through which you can determine what type of account each of them are. So in personal account, you will ask three questions. The questions are, one is it a human being? One is it an entity? So when I say entity, it can be a company, it can be a partnership, as the case may be. I think today only we were discussing about varieties of entity with the law and ethics. So it can be a partnership or any other type of entity for that matter. So is it an entity? That's my question. The third question is it a representative personal account? So time and again, I have mentioned that representative personal account, actually, whenever it will come, I will discuss. For now, I'll tell. Whenever it will come, I'll tell. We will not discuss it now. So we will ask three questions first: whether it is a human being, whether it is an entity, whether it is a representative personal account. If answer to any of these questions is yes, then that account is a personal account. It's very simple. Then we go to real account. So if the answer to these three questions first is no, we will go to real account and we will ask whether we can feel and touch it. I'll apply this immediately in the transactions. Don't worry how to apply if that doubt is coming. The question only will be asking feel and touch. If the answer is yes, then it is a real account. Otherwise, it is a nominal account. For nominal account, there is no condition. If answer to this question is false, then it is going to nominal account. It's as simple. Let's apply this very quickly with this. Now, cash. Is it a human being? Definitely no. Is it an entity? Is it a company? No. Cash is not a company. It's as simple. It's not a representative personal account. I'm telling you that. And is it something you can feel and touch? Yes. Notes,
Yes.
cash notes we can feel and touch. So it is coming under real account. Let me go to Raj's capital account. So as I said, actually Raj and capital were exactly the same. When I say Raj's capital account, keep in mind that it is actually Raj whose name is written here. The Raj's capital account is a fancy name given in the accounts field just to specify that Raj is the owner. He has invested some capital, but this account is of Raj only. Now, having that said, is it a human being?
If you Raj,
Yes. Sorry.
if you write only Raj, will they cut marks, or we have to write it Raj capital?
No, not at all. Mark will not be cut. Only Raj is also fine. Raj account is also fine. The capital account is also fine. If somebody is very strict, they might, but I won't. if the thing is given to me, I won't.
Good one.
Yeah, and so having that said, now is it a human being?
Yes.
Yes, obviously yes. So because Raj is a human being and this account is representing him only, and so this is a human being. So now that we have that condition of any of those three questions answer is yes, then it is a personal account. One of those question answer is yes, so it is a personal account. You don't have to go anywhere else. So let me go to another transaction. Then we will go to the other step of the journal entry. The other transaction is bought goods from Keshav for cash. Bought goods from Keshav for cash. What are the two aspects in it? Or three aspects, four aspects, as much as you can find?
I think cash, Keshav, goods, and goods, I think.
Purchases and
somebody said purchases. I'm writing that as well. Yes. Anything else? Okay. Let's finalize two of them. Tell me one thing. I just told few minutes back this logic. In that logic, here is it a cash transaction or a credit transaction in the same
Cash
logic?
transaction.
It is a
Cash.
cash transaction. That means if I remind you of that same example of going to a grocery store and buying a pen, then is the grocery store important from me? No. As
No.
we have already discussed. That means here in this example, we are buying goods from Kesav and we have paid cash. So Kesav is not important, right? The
Correct.
same logic. I'm deleting
Correct.
Kesav now. Now let's go to goods and purchases. These are actually exactly same. Both are correct, but in books we never write goods account. We never write. That's a kind of practice that is, if you try to find out logic, there is no logic. It's just a practice. Over time, goods
Okay.
has dissolved, and we use purchases, which represents goods only, which is goods only. That you have to remember. That will help us in determining what type of account it is. Now that we have determined this, let's go to what type of account each of them are. Cash, what type of account?
Real.
Let's go to
Real.
the same
Real.
question. Yes. For them who cannot relate it, what everyone did was they went through the same procedure. Is it a human being? No. Is it an entity? No. Is it a representative personal account? No. Is it something that we can feel and touch? Yes. Then that's a real account. As simple as that.
Okay.
Let's go to purchases. What is it?
Real.
Perfect. So because I have said a few seconds back, purchases is nothing but goods only. We're just assigning a name to it. We have named it certain way, so it is goods only. So it is a human being? No. It is an entity? No. It is a representative personal account? No. Is it something feel and touch? Yes. Then that's a real
Yes.
account. Let's go to the third transaction. Third transaction reads, sold furniture to Raghav on credit for 500 rupees. What are the aspects? Sold furniture to Raghav on credit, rupees 500.
Raghav account, credit account, furniture account, sales
Credit
account.
account, furniture.
Sold
Else.
furniture.
Anything else, guys? Okay, let's
No.
focus on this four. Let's focus on these four. Now that very clearly on credit is written in this
Correct.
transaction, definitely it's a credit transaction for
Correct.
sure. Now
Yeah.
let me exclude. Yes, let me exclude the obvious one, which is debit or credit account you will never have. That is a kind of logic you will have to remember. Debit and credit account you will never have. Just delete that part. Now let's move to Raghav account, furniture account, and sales account. Out of this, first of all, Raghav has received the furniture. We have sold the goods to Raghav. So he is definitely important because it is a credit transaction again. He is definitely important.
Yeah.
As I had mentioned few minutes back about the purchase, if I purchase the pen from the grocery shop, but I tell him that I cannot pay because I don't have cash and I don't have any payment app, then I'll come back and pay you later. Then that grocery shop becomes important. Similar way here, we are selling goods to Raghav, but on credit. He has not paid us cash, so Raghav is important.
Correct.
And so now the competition is between sales and furniture. Here, let me remind all of us another concept, which was personal use and business use. When we are purchasing something, I'll give you an example, something like this. Suppose I say, I'm a person who deals with how do I say, cars. I think that's the exact example the sir gave. Why would I say for cars? Let me take this example only. Suppose I'm the one, okay, this is a free one, it seems. It will end in 10 minutes. Let's see. Suppose I'm a person here in the beginning of the question. Suppose it is mentioned that type of okay, fine, it is not given. Suppose I'm saying that this company for whom we are actually recording the journal entries, it deals with suppose food chain, for example, food chain, some restaurant it has and it is dealing with that. Now that we know that it had some furniture with it, and it is selling that furniture right as of now.
Yeah.
When we see that that is a furniture, suppose I purchase, as I have said, this is a restaurant business, so they must be purchasing all the food items on day-to-day basis. So when they purchase the those food items, those will be utilized in their business, and those will be converted into food, and those will be sold to the people. Now that's their core business, isn't it? That's their core business. So that goods, whatever was there, it came in, it went into their core business, and the output was made, and that was sold. Now I can then call that those are the products for that business. Those are the products, or I can say those are the goods for the business. However, if I say the furniture, the chair that is there in that restaurant, the chair and table that is there in that restaurant, is it something that is the core business of the company? Is it something that they're going to, they're purchasing it for the purpose of selling it? No, they're purchasing it for the purpose of using it.
Correct.
Though it is connected to their business, because people are coming and sitting on the chair and table, but they're not selling it right away. Maybe because of some extra circumstance, they're closing down on a particular part of it, or maybe some furnitures have gone really bad. They're not disposing all of that. Some extra kind of very exceptional kind of situation happened. That's why they're selling those chairs and tables. But normally they won't sell. So what I'm reaching at is, whenever you have a sale or purchase, whatever you are purchasing, if it is related to your core business, then you will name it as goods, so purchase or sales. Just now we saw when we purchased goods. When we purchased goods, we named it as purchase. The account was purchase. We didn't say goods, we said purchased. So because when it says goods, that means it's obvious that those goods are related to the core business of the company. But here, now that we are getting the understanding, the furniture is not the core business. It's just an additional asset that we have, though, on which the people are going to just sit down just to eat. That is not the core business. The goods cannot be used there. It's not a goods for the company. It's rather an asset for the company. There is a big difference. It's not the goods for the company. It's an asset, because we are continuously using that. We are not selling it right away. We are continuously using that. So very simply, if I say, if something is related to the product that you are purchasing or selling is related to the core business, only then you use the goods. Meaning thereby, instead of goods, we use purchase or sell, as the case may be. If it is not related to core business, that means we will use exactly the name of that asset, because that is an asset for the company. That is that product will be the, how do I say, it will have an individual account to it. It'll not be included in the list of the goods. Now, let me relate that to business use and personal use. So when I say something is related to core business, that means we call it, in technical terms, business use. When something is not related to core business, instead that is used in the business, but to support the core business. Like in this example, people are coming and sitting, because if the chair and table will not be there, people cannot sit and eat. And so it is needed. So it is supporting the core business of the company. So if that's the case, then that is called the personal use of the asset, again from company perspective. So everything that we are discussing from company perspective, when I say personal use, don't think like, the owner is taking and using it. That's not, I'm not talking about that. It's the personal use of the company itself. So here, let me come to this example very quickly. So sold furniture to Raghav on credit 500 rupees. Now we have already determined Raghav is definitely an account. Then we are competing in between furniture and sales. Now, as I have said, if it is related to core business, then you will use the goods or purchase account or sales account. If it is not related to core business, then you can use the name of the asset itself, name of the product itself. Here, my question now is it related to core business? We have already discussed. It is definitely not, right?
Correct.
Right.
Yeah.
So
we are deleting the sales part. So furniture is the one. Now that we have determined that very quickly, Raghav is what type of account? Personal, perfect. And furniture is?
And real.
Perfect.
I have one question here, Dheeraja.
Yes.
So if we are here we are selling the furniture. If we are purchasing the furniture, then it will be purchased. Raghav purchased, right?
No. For both purchase and sell, you will apply the same logic. What is the logic? Is the product related to the core business? So let me give the exactly same example from purchase point of view. If my how do I say, if I'm in the same business, restaurant business only, I needed to expand my business. I'm purchasing the furniture now, chair and table. So is it the core business or is it supporting my core business?
Core business. It will be permanent in your assets,
Yes,
right?
it will be permanent, but you are not going to sell the furniture, right? You are just purchasing it to use it in your business, right?
Right.
Yeah, so it is not core business.
Core.
It is
Okay.
supporting the core business. So if I ask you, so what is core business? I'm again giving you an example. Suppose you purchase some tomato, potato, all of that, which you are going to use today while cooking, and you're going to sell that to the customers. That is your core business. Those are the products that you're selling to the customers. But furniture you are not selling. It is rather supporting your core business. Right? Yeah, so it will not be a core business, meaning thereby it will not be purchases account, it will be furniture account only, right?
Right.
Yeah, awesome. Now that we have determined that, I think we're left with only 2 minutes. Very quickly, let's go to the golden rule. So I think you all have that golden rule written somewhere in your notebook or other place. So golden rule says per personal account, debit the receiver, credit the giver. Another one is debit the debtor, credit the creditor. For real account, it is debit what comes in, credit what goes out. And for nominal account, it is debit all expenses and losses and credit all incomes and gains. Now, for real account, in this transaction, the transaction was Raj commenced business with 5,000 rupees. Real account, what is the rule? Somebody?
100.
In this, I think it says what goes out, real account, right?
What comes in, credit what goes out.
Yes, debit what comes in, credit what goes out.
Debit what comes in, credit what goes out.
Now, is the cash coming in or going out in this transaction?
It's going out.
Cash commences the business.
Now, again, let me just remind you one thing. Let me remind you one thing. We are solely talking about the business now. We are not thinking it from Raj's point of view. We are not thinking from Raj's point of view. We are thinking from the business point of view. For business, has the cash come in or cash has gone out?
It has come in.
It's come
Yes, it has come in. So it will be debit, right? Now let's go to capital account, Raj's capital account, which is representing Raj only. So for Raj, it is a personal account. What are the rules?
Debit the receiver, credit the giver.
Credit the giver. Is Raj the receiver or giver?
The giver.
Giver.
Awesome. And quickly, bought goods from Kesar for cash, and the transaction is for 1,000 rupees. The accounts we have already determined. Real account, the rule is
Debit what comes in, credit
what goes out. Awesome. Here cash is coming in or going out?
Brought goods from Keshav.
Cash goes
Going out.
Yes.
Going out.
So it will be credit. In case actually this stops, we can immediately join back. I'll create another link. We can join back. We can complete this mini at least. Yeah.